In this video, I want to teach you the steps, techniques, and strategies to become a master parent coach. Now, the first part is simple. As a parent, I know that every parent loves their child, and I know that they want the absolute best for their child. Unfortunately, as we've all heard, there's no blueprint. There is no one way to success for every child. But with the proper training and the proper strategies in place, we can certainly hedge that bet and make sure that it's not just a great lifestyle, but it's a fantastic life for your child. So that's where the coaching part comes in. When thinking about what it is that I do here with the kids, it's not karate, it's not the sidekick. You know, my black belts don't grow up walking around town throwing sidekicks saying, "Look how awesome I am." Right? It's the self-esteem, it's the self-confidence, it's the leadership skills, and everything else that we do here that is truly the foundation of what we're trying to accomplish. So with that, I want to be able to give you some insight into the coaching side so that you can start helping your child, which will double the efforts that I'm doing with them. So an example, or what we're really talking about here, is self-image. And self-image is basically the subconscious of how we see, think, and feel about ourselves. Now, if it's a strong self-image, it's going to really catapult you to success and stardom. Unfortunately, very often it does the exact opposite, and it sabotages you without you really understanding why. And this can happen for somebody's entire life if they don't fix it. So that's why working with the kids now, if we give them that proper guidance and give them those skills and tools, we're not gonna have to worry about them as they get a little bit older. So an oversimplified version here, I don't really wanna dive into the psychology of this whole process because that'll be hours and hours of video. But in essence, we were all told as young children, don't talk to strangers. Now, as a 5-year-old, that makes perfect sense, right? We don't want you talking to people that we don't know because bad things could happen. Unfortunately, if nothing else happens after that programming and that becomes ingrained in our self-image, that's a very difficult thing for an adult that has to function talking to strangers, right? So maybe you develop a job and you have to meet new people all the time. Maybe you're gonna look for in a relationship at some time, that's gonna be somebody new. But your subconscious and your self-image is going to say, you were told not to talk to strangers. So it is gonna start to creep in and sabotage different things. It's either gonna give you physical mannerisms that people find unappealing or weird, your vocabulary, your tone, your pace, and who knows, it can present itself in all kinds of weird, crazy ways. But the idea is we want to make sure that we're focusing on that positive self-image for your child. And that's where parent coach starts to come into play. Because all too often, I see parents parenting their child when they should be coaching. And there is a definite line between the two. So an example for that would be, you're gonna punish your child and not allow them to belt test. Well, that's not going to help their self-image. So what we wanna be able to do is restructure that process and create it into a better process for them so that way it ends up being something that will serve them for the rest of their life, not something that will detract from them. All right, so with that in mind, our parent coach, basically level 1, I've got 5 things that I want you to start working on. And this is easily gonna take you 6 to 12 months to really understand, see, and internalize. Like anything, just like karate, 10,000 punches before you master the punch. 10,000 front kicks before you master your front kick. This isn't any different. This is working with our brain and working with our child. So whenever your child is starting martial arts, or any activity for that matter, your first and most important job is to be their cheerleader. So whenever they look at you, your only responsibility is to do this. Double thumbs up. Let them know that you're watching, let them know that you're paying attention, and let them know you're proud. That's what they're looking for. Right? If anything else happens, immediately you start programming that negative sabotaging self-image. You might not even mean to, right? We see parents sit with their arms crossed. Well, it looks like you're unhappy. It looks like you're upset. You might not be, but that's the message that's being sent to your child. So by simply giving them that double thumbs up, they're gonna know that they're safe, they're gonna know that they're doing things right or well, and they're gonna get back to whatever it is that activity is. Your second level, if you wanna get complex, after thumbs up, is simply round of applause. You can never give your child too much applause. So being able to give them that thumbs up and that round of applause is really going to accelerate and lock in that foundation of positive self-image. My parents are proud of me, right? You guys have, if you've been here at the school for any time, well, pre-COVID at least, my parents came to every belt testing since I've pretty much owned a karate school. 27 years, they've been to every belt testing. And they would clap and they would cheer and they were excited to see the kids do well. My parents are proud of me. As an adult, that makes you feel good. So imagine that multiplied for a young child. All right, so after our thumbs up, after our clapping, right? Maybe you give a little whistle or a cheer, or, my thing is I always say whoop whoop, right? So whatever your cheer is, go ahead and get vocal. Let your child know that you're proud of them. From there, add that smile, just like the kids, right? When the kids are paying attention and they're so focused, they have almost a scowl on their face. Life is so much happier when you smile. So if your child turns around and looks at you and you're already smiling, they're just gonna naturally pick that up, and that's gonna help, or it's going to get them to want to do even better. Finally, we work on our high fives and our hugs. Right? So giving your child a high five when they come over, giving them a really big hug, and I get it. Maybe you grew up in a situation or a family and you're not a hugger. There's that self-image again. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just asking you to identify it. If you don't give your child good hugs, they're going to grow up and follow in your footsteps and continue that trend. And if you're okay with that, no problem. But if you don't like it, then you need to change it so that that cycle breaks with your child. Have you ever received a bad hug? They're like, ugh. You go to hug the person and it's just kind of that tap, 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 and you totally know that that person does not want to be hugging you right now. That doesn't help your self-image. So we want to make sure that at least you identify and are aware of the process and either choose to accept it or choose to break the cycle and start giving better hugs. All right, so that is basically the foundation of step one. If you do nothing else other than that, you've already started to push your child to a positive self-image. This isn't a martial arts thing, this is an activity thing. When they start a new subject in school, when they start, to learn to ride their bike, they learn to swim, they learn to play baseball. If you follow these same steps, your child is going to grow up with a strong foundation of a good self-image. Now, where we start to go a little bit deeper with that for the martial arts process is number two, now you want to start thinking about creating reasonable goals. And this is where there's a difference between goals and expectations. Parents come in with expectations, and that's a problem. Parents who set goals always find success at the end of the road. What the difference is basically you'll come in and you'll say, I've heard things all over the map again. My child is 9, so they should already know how to do that, whatever that is. That might be make their bed, or put their shoes on, or throw a side kick, or do a push-up. And my answer is, why? You're expecting them to be able to have certain information because of their age. There's no correlation to that whatsoever, right? Information and knowledge comes from experience. If you've given your child the experience, then they should know how to do it. If you've never shown your child how to make their bed, how would they know how to do it? If you've never shown them how to tie their shoe, if you've never shown them how to throw a ball, if you've never shown them how to swim, right? It goes on and on. It doesn't matter how old they are until they've got that experience. So don't come in or don't start any brand new activity with any expectations. Coming into karate class, as a parent, brand new, expectations would be listen to the instructor, follow the rules, have fun. No, that's it. Other than that, let's learn and let's see what goes on. Because now from there, we can set some goals. After class, right? Hey, what was your favorite part of class? What did you like the most? That was really cool. My favorite part, I really liked, and then you start talking and reevaluating what happened that day in class. From there, then it's like, okay, well, gosh, it looks like maybe you were struggling with those push-ups. Maybe we should set a goal of being able to do 3, not 10, not 20, 3, right? Keep it simple. We want very small steps of progress. Small steps of progress are going to get your child to success. Large steps, they're going to miss, and then they're going to fail when they're not prepared mentally for that, and that starts then to hinder that self-image. See, everything comes back to that self-image. So we always want to keep in mind how to keep it positive. Now, as a side note, not saying that your child will never fail. There's times in here where I plan on them failing. But there's the key, I plan on it. So when I plan on it, I already have put the other things in place for them to accept if it happens, and let's use this as a learning example to fix and be successful later on. So that's what we talk about by reasonable goals. Setting reasonable goals are just very, very small and short. I've had parents come in and I'm like, okay, well, thanks for checking out the school. What is it that I can help your child with? Well, they're 5 and I want them to be able to sit crisscross applesauce for about 30 minutes like they have to in school. It's not gonna happen yet, right? Well, give me about 2 years and I'll be able to do that with them. Right now, how about a minute? Do you think it would be cool if they could do it for a minute? Oh my gosh, I'd be happy for even a minute. Well, then don't set the expectation or don't have the goal at 30 because it's gonna take your child way too long to accomplish that. Keep them simple. You cannot make your goal too short or too simple. If they meet it, then there's celebration and there's success and there's more positive self-image. That's always going to be better than the other side and the negative and hurting the self-image. So, number 3, we get into evaluation. While you're working on your child's goals, or while your child's working on their child's goals, then we want to talk about evaluating. That's what our stripe and our belt tests are. Our belt tests check to see how the child has progressed in the past 8 weeks. Sometimes it's this much. Sometimes it's this much. On an occasion, it's this much. It doesn't matter to me as long as there's progress. The child's journey is their journey. It doesn't matter if there's minimal, max, whatever level of success, doesn't matter as long as there is some progress. At the same time, if there's not any progress, that you can also evaluate. What happened? Why are we sliding backwards? There's going to be plenty of reasons or possible excuses. This is where you want to make sure that you get back on track and stay working towards those goals. Number 4 comes in, celebrate. Right? We want to make sure that you celebrate those goals. It doesn't have to be, sometimes the high five is the celebration, the big hug, the way to go, I'm so proud of you, right? Maybe for belt testing, it might be, let's go to the ice cream parlor, let's go get some ice cream, or let's go see a movie, or whatever it is that your family does to celebrate. It can be small, it can be big, as long as there's some level of celebration. Good, what's gonna happen? Dopamine starts to drop and drip into your child's brain. They start to feel good. They want more of that. So they're gonna be more focused on the next goal so that way the cycle continues, right? There's a science behind all of this. It's not magic, it's not luck, and it's definitely not random. We wanna be able to give you each of these things so that you understand what's happening. Number 5, the final one for this video, is gonna be future vision. We want you to be able to create a thought in your head first of future vision for your child's success so that you can then help your child see that process and reach that future vision as well. We talk about it all the time. You see us talk about it all the time. Black belt, black belt, black belt, black belt, right? Everything. Who's going to train like a black belt? Who's going to kick like a black belt? Who's going to listen like a black belt? So martial arts has that built into it because of the belt system. So we use that to our advantage. That's what makes our life skills hands down better than anybody else's in the United States, because we've got extra things already built in that people recognize. So my job is to make sure I use those tools to maximum effect, which I make sure that I do for your child. So future visioning for you would be, as a white belt, man, I can't wait to see my child as a black belt, standing tall, making good eye contact, and having a strong voice. That day is going to be really awesome to see. So your future vision is then now going to start pacing and setting the goals from where they are to where you would like them to be down the road. Now notice, I didn't talk about their sidekick or their front stance or, hey, they memorized 10 forms now, aren't they fantastic? That's not what it's about. It's about making your child the best version of themselves possible. So if you can do all 5 of these things, right, this is going to be at least 1 year of training. 1 full year of nothing for your child but thumbs up, clapping your hands, that a boy or that a girl, right? I'm proud of you. Give me a hug. Give me a high five, right? On to the next step, on to the next goal. Let's keep moving forwards. Again, when I start to see parenting instead of coaching, it comes from the right place, but it's the wrong delivery system. Parents start to nitpick at the things that your child's not doing, right? Hey, I noticed your push-ups were pretty weak today. Hey, I noticed you didn't really try your hardest today. You know what? I don't think you should promote a belt rank because blah, 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 blah. Any of 1,000 reasons. When you look for the negative, you're going to find the negative. So we want to frame for the positive and reward when your child does that. Now I get it. It's not going to be a straight line, right? Life is not a straight line. We'd like to think that hey, once I do this, I'm just going to get better and I'm going to end up here and life is going to be grand. Doesn't work that way. Life does this, right? Upside down, twirls, twists, all kinds of things that you can never expect, curveballs, but how you deal with them is what's important. And I guarantee you, somebody with a positive and strong self-image, hands down, will handle it better than a child that doesn't have a good self-image. So this is going to end video 1. Appreciate your time. I look forward to seeing you guys starting to use this in the karate school, hearing you use it with your child. As always, if you have any questions, if you want to get nerdy about this, I've been studying the psychology behind this for months or years even, and so I didn't want to jump down that rabbit hole like I said at the beginning. I'm more than happy to talk to you about the processes if you'd like to, or if you just have questions. Hey, this was my goal. What do you think? Or we were going to do this. How about that? This also is, by the way, is exactly what we do in leadership. The leadership training program, you have parents and child have a one-on-one conversation with me every month, and we go through what are your goals, what have you accomplished, what's your next goal, how are you going to do it, and then we tweak it along the way to make sure that the kids are reaching success. So if you have questions about leadership, if you have questions about your child's self-image, heck, if you have questions about your self-image, feel free to reach out. I'm more than happy to talk to you, give you any of the information, and help out any way I can. Have a great day.